Welcome to the Women of Ihsan podcast. I'm your host, Sophia, and this is an invitation to join me and our amazing guests to find inspiration and insights into your own journey to Ihsan. If you ever feel overwhelmed or confused along the way, I'm also here to support you so you can tackle your challenges with confidence and make progress towards this lofty goal. To find out more about my work, check the episode description and make sure to subscribe.
والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala rasulillah. Welcome to a new episode of the Women of Ihsan podcast. Today, I have the great pleasure to host Nanjiba Misbah, who is a visually impaired public speaker, lifestyle blogger, digital content creator, and accessibility advocate. Nanjiba is a British Bangladeshi Muslim from London. She covers lifestyle content, which also educates people about sight loss and the importance of accessibility. Once again, thank you for accepting my invitation, Nanjiba. Welcome and salaam alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to chatting to you today.
Thank you so much, Nanjiba. So please tell us about yourself, a bit about your background. We mentioned that you are British Bangladeshi living in London, and you know that you are visually impaired. Do you have a personal story to share with the audience today?
I've been visually impaired my whole life. I was born premature, born at 6 months, and my condition started because I didn't have enough oxygen in me, so they needed to treat me. So I became severely sight impaired. This is all I've ever known. So the level I can see is normal to me. My experience is normal to me. And sight loss is a spectrum, so not everyone who is blind and visually impaired can see the same. Everyone is unique. I started my blog in 2016 just to share my experience because there weren't people like me who are hijabis, Muslim, people of color, raising awareness about sight loss. It was a lot of people that were white or American, British people. So I wanted to put my voice out there. And then recently I started doing digital content as well. I work in the charity sector as well. I studied sociology at university, and I also enjoy doing things like going out with friends, trying new places to eat, going to the theatre, seeing exhibits, going to new places to explore them. I love reading as well. Now I use audiobooks, of watching different shows, movies, variety of interests really, just like everyone else.
MashaAllah, it's really incredible. And you also mentioned that you work like you have your
Day
daytime
job,
job.
yeah.
What is your work about?
So I currently work in the for a sight loss charity, and it's about accessibility and usability. So I do user testing of different products, websites, apps, and I give companies feedback about what it is that they need to improve on to make their product or service accessible for people with sight loss and usable.
MashaAllah, that's really amazing to have this kind of experience because when we don't know people who are visually impaired or have some kind of handicap in their life, it's
Yeah.
difficult to realize how their life can be like. That's why I was so interested in hearing from you because so we met during one of Khalil Alisa Power of Voice Academy challenge, and I find your story very inspiring. You know, if you can do so much, then someone who actually doesn't have any impairment has, you know, full capacity of their five senses really should take, you know, a page from a book, subhanallah. So that's really amazing. And I also wanted to ask, do you have, you know, a personal story that relates to the topic of the podcast?
Good question. a lot of my content is about stories that I have in real life, things I experience or things I want to share. The one in particular, in 2018, I were I had just finished my exams, finished my dissertation, and I was ready to graduate and excited to start job hunting, reach adulthood, take my first steps into the working world and apply for internships, graduate schemes, entry-level jobs, just like everyone else. But I had one problem. I'm visually impaired. Only 25% of people that are blind and visually impaired are employed. That's 1 in 4 people. I didn't want to be part of that 75%. I didn't want to have to depend on someone else just to survive. I didn't want to have to rely on someone else's financial stability to live my life. That wasn't me. That's not something I felt I could handle. So I wanted the freedom that came with having a job, the ability to take control and be independent. Not everyone has a chance to get that. Not everyone is given the opportunity. So, and I felt I had to find a way to get it. So I've always been someone that's very driven, hardworking, resilient. 3 months before graduation, I started job hunting and I applied for internships, graduate schemes, entry-level jobs, and had a long list of rejections on my laptop. Every rejection ended up teaching me something that I had to learn the hard way, but that's usually the way you learn the most, really, the hard way in life. And I learned that I have to check where the company's office is before I even apply, just to see if the commute to that building would be possible for me to do with transport. Is it a direct route? Do I have to take a bus? Do I have to change buses or trains somewhere? How far is a walk from the train station or bus stop? What's it like in the dark? Those are things that I had to make sure I knew the answers to before I even applied. Once I got to that interview stage, I had to physically do the route to the office before my actual interview again and again and again until I had it memorized, because otherwise I would get lost on the day. I would be in an unfamiliar environment where Google Maps was not cooperating because I had taken a wrong turn somewhere. I would be very late and have to rely on the kindness of a stranger to give me the time of day and help me get to where I needed to be, and that was not a good look. I learned that if I got an interview, I needed to tell the company about my visual impairment because they gave me an application form to fill out whilst I waited. It'd be very difficult to do if it wasn't in my required format. I learned that I wasn't able to do this on my own. I needed help. So I contacted a company called Blind in Business. They're a charity that helps students like me at the time get into employment, and they taught me everything I needed to know about job hunting and the interview process. And I applied for a trainee job at the UK's leading sight loss charity, got to the interview stage, and then a few days later I had a call. The call went something like this. Hello? Do you know what he told me? I got the job. My reaction was, oh my gosh, really? Are you sure? Seriously? He laughed and said, yes. That was 6 years ago. That 25% statistic still hasn't changed. It hasn't changed for a generation. That's still something blind and visually impaired people are going through. There's so many barriers that you have to overcome just to apply for a job. One of them is accessibility. Accessibility is seen as an afterthought, an add-on, something you do at the end of the development stage. In reality, it's something that you should be doing at the very beginning. And people don't know that.
Yeah, subhanallah, that's such inspiring his story of resilience, subhanallah,
Thank you.
because so many of us we could give up just before starting. Like you
Mm,
said, there are so many steps, so many obstacles along the way. And one really needs to be resilient. And
mm,
alhamdulillah, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you got that job and you're still in
alhamdulillah.
there. I guess, is it the same job or did you change the job?
Uh, Same company, different jobs within the company over the
MashaAllah.
years. MashaAllah. Thank you.
That's great.
Alhamdulillah.
That's great. In your life, what kind of role has your faith played in terms of, how to overcome these challenges, and how, being close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shaped your perspective on the world?
As a Muslim, I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only gives you the things that He knows that you can handle. So I know that I was given this visual impairment because I have the perseverance, resilience, confidence to live my life with it. I don't see it as something to fear, something to feel like I don't have the same choices as everyone else. I also know that as a Muslim, for me personally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always there for you. You can turn to Him whatever you need. He makes the impossible possible, always gives you a way out and guides you, protects you, keeps you safe. And that's something very important to remember, no matter how hard life gets.
MashaAllah, that's beautiful. Did you have, because along the way, obviously, we can hear all the challenges
Mm,
that you had to face and the hurdles again along the way. Um, and like you said, every rejection helps you learn something, and that's a great
yeah,
mindset for
yeah,
anyone actually, to understand that when you get a rejection, it's actually a redirection to
yeah,
something better, inshallah.
yeah.
So, were there any misconception or limiting belief that were holding you back at some point, and because of your perseverance, you managed to overcome? Is there one or two things that you would like to share? Again, to inspire the audience, people who might have these kind of challenges in their life or not. I mean, all of us we do struggle with life.
Mm.
You know, can you shed some light on what helps you overcome any misconception or limiting belief?
So I had orientation and mobility training when I was a teenager. It's something in the UK, every country is different, but in the UK, it's from your local authority. Someone comes, teaches you daily living skills, how to be independent, how to go out and about and use public transport. I remember something she told me at the time was a lot of people that are visually impaired, like me, they grow up with family members just doing things for you. So you don't really learn to do stuff yourself. For me, I think limiting belief or misconception would be that, well, for me, the thing that I learned was I am capable of doing things myself. I just have a different way of doing it. I have my own version of independence. And the you have to be confident in yourself and your abilities and be brave to try new things and try things differently. And if you fail, you fail. That's life. You learn from the failure as well. And it's about communicating to the people in your life that you can do this and you're safe, you know how to do this, you've got this as well. That's something I learned through my journey as well.
Mashallah. And how did your family support you on the journey? Because it must be also quite difficult for parents to just let go of it. Like in general, as a
Yeah.
parent, we don't want to let go of our kids, in this big
Mm.
wild world. Um, but more so if the child has visual impairment like
Mm.
yourself, how was the support from your family?
I've been visually impaired my whole life. I'm the only one with sight loss in my family. So for them, they've always been there to support me if I need it. very lucky to have that support and love from them. For example, my dad would take me wherever it is I need to go in the car, or to drop me to the station, or pick me up when it's dark. My brother as well does that. My mum would help me in the kitchen when I was learning to cook. I'm very grateful for that support. I think for them, also my sister would always be there as well. In if there was something that I needed advice on, she would be there and sometimes give me the push that I needed to go do it. If it was something I really wanted to do and felt I needed to do it. For my family, I think for them, the challenge was they could see that I was capable, but it took them time to get used to it. So, for example, when I was learning to cross the road safely, once I got confident with it, I just did it. And before that, they were used to me waiting at the corner of the road, waiting for them to come and then cross. Or when it came to public transport and going to school myself, initially they needed to see me do it a few times before they got comfortable with me doing it themselves. And I learned things that would help them not worry, to do things that would help them not worry as much, like texting them where I was so that they knew, and things like that. So, yeah, I managed to figure out the system.
MashaAllah, that's it's so beautiful to hear from you, subhanAllah. And it's such I don't know, it's for me it's such an inspiration to see someone who has so much challenges, but all the same, you persevere with the support of your family, but at the end of the day, you had the confidence to really, just do it, and try new things, even if it must have felt so, I don't know. It's just when as you are speaking, I can imagine you. Like I close my eyes and I imagine if I had to cross the road without being able to see properly,
Yeah,
it must be, scary sometimes.
it
How
can
do
be,
you
but
how do you deal with the fear?
there isn't a fear really. You learn how to do it safely. That's the importance of O&M training. So if when I cross the road, I learn to listen first for the cars, any bikes that are coming, and then just go when I feel it's safe rather than checking, seeing someone else do it and do it that way. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's how you do it really. There are ways around it as well. And I use a mobility aid, a cane, which helps me be independent, feel safe. And it's not all doom and gloom. There are perks to having a disability as well. Things that I'm quite, I wouldn't change being visually impaired. I wouldn't want that taken away from me just so I could be like everyone else. I like the perks that come with having a disability.
Okay, for instance, share with us what are the perks.
Number one, people are nice to you, especially in a city like London where everyone is minding their own business.
Hmm.
When they see the cane, they know I'm visually impaired, so they will offer to help me more than they probably would the average person.
Hmm.
Number two, as well, is I get to experience things that other people probably wouldn't. For example, I went to an audio described tour of the manga exhibit when that was out a few years ago. I got to get a private tour with other blind and visually impaired people like me and feel some of the exhibits, learn the story and history behind it as a tour. When I go to the theatre as well, for people with sight loss, there's something called a touch tour where you can go behind the scenes. You can sometimes meet the cast, feel the costumes, go on stage, see what it's like as well, which is really cool. And not everyone gets that experience. You also get discounts on things like a lot of people with sight loss use Apple products, so you can get discounted prices on them. You get discounts on travel cards. There's also in London, you can use disability travel cards as well on the tube, which helps you out financially as well. And
Hmm.
yeah, and people are generally very nice and very helpful, and it's quite fun.
Alhamdulillah. It's also, I guess,
Yeah,
it's also a perk of living in a big city,
yeah,
such like London.
yeah.
So,
Public
Alhamdulillah.
transport in the country is very different to the city as
Hmm.
well, and that needs sorting out.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
That sounds great. Alhamdulillah. Um, As you know, so this is the Women of Ihsan podcast, and I always ask the guest what it means for her personally to strive to become a woman of Ihsan. So in your case, Nanjiba, can you share, today what it means for you to have this in mind? How does this translate in your life?
To me, it translates to be the best version of yourself that you can be physically, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually. Always be curious and learn about things, learn about Islam, anything that interests you, and remember everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with and be grateful for what you have. Do what you can to help others, give money to charity, and make dua for people in your life and people who aren't in your life as well. There's so much going on in the world. And it's also about there's a difference between being nice and kind. So to me, it's about being kind to people in your life and being genuine and honest, not being fake and being true to who you are.
Thanks again for sharing all of this, Nanjiba. I also would like to hear from you what is your vision for the future? What kind of impact and legacy you would like to leave behind?
As I said before, accessibility is seen as an afterthought, an add-on that you do at the end of the development stage. In reality, it's something you should be doing at the very beginning, at the very start. So I need to change the game. I need to give people who aren't in the silos sector, who aren't in the accessibility field, the tools they need to be more inclusive, to reach blind and visually impaired people as both customers and employees. I want to be a voice for people with sight loss so that life is made easier for them, more accessible for them, and they aren't left behind in a sighted world. There are sight loss charities out there, but they can only do so much. Someone has to help, someone has to share the knowledge, so it might as well be me.
Amazing. May Allah help you in this and, grant you success and help you inspire more people and, get this awareness because we can't, as people who see properly, alhamdulillah, we can't really imagine how much of a challenge it is. Like when you said like for applying for a job, before applying, you need to know, okay, is it somewhere I can access?
Exactly.
Before even, and this is something that, like other people, without this impairment, we don't think about that. We just, we apply and whatever, we just get there. Subhanallah.
It's not something you've had to think about, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and subhanallah, it makes me think of something like how to access a building, for instance. When you are just on your own and you can walk, you just take the stairs, that's fine, or when you are in the tube. But if you are elderly person, or even if you have a pram, with your baby, then you realize, oh my God, this is an obstacle now on my way, which when I was just on my 2 feet, I didn't even think of it. But now that I have this, I like you start seeing things you didn't even pay attention to before. SubhanAllah. And this is where you get this awareness of how important accessibility is for people in wheelchairs, again, elderly people or just people who are at the moment, they are just sick and they can't walk, they can't take the stairs, subhanallah. And I see even in big cities, there are still too many places where this accessibility lacks. So I hope by, amplifying voices like yours, like it gets more awareness and fundings, because at the end of the day, nothing happens if you don't have, the money to make this project happen. So subhanallah, may Allah help you with this and grant you tawfiq. And may Allah, accept your intentions, which are very noble. And again, may this be inspiration for other people out there. You never know who might listen to this and, help you on this journey, on this mission.
Thank you.
Is there, on top of everything that you have shared with us, a specific message or a piece of advice that you would like to give the audience?
For anyone who's listening, hopefully this is the advice that you need. Be comfortable in who you are, in your own skin. Don't let other people's thoughts, feelings, and opinions define or take control of your life. Always stay true to yourself. Do what you in your heart know is the right path. You are the only one that knows what it is you are truly capable of. Other people's perceptions of it are based on their beliefs about what they feel are barriers that you face. So just do what you feel is right. Try and get out of your comfort zone. Try and learn new things if you feel they will help you. Remember to be confident, use your voice to achieve the things that you want to achieve. You are going to have to advocate yourself and be independent and confident because no one else is going to be able to give you the things you need unless you know how to ask for it and how to get it. And remember to enjoy life. Life isn't dark, grey, and depressing. There's still some good moments in life. Remember to do the things that you enjoy, find things that bring you joy. Always, it's important to also be part of a community of people you can turn to if you need anything, friends, family, colleagues, and just have fun along the way.
MashaAllah, thanks again for sharing all of these beautiful, messages with us. And last but not least, how can people, follow you on social media? I will share everything in the episode notes, in the description. I found you on Instagram, so you have your Instagram. Is there anything else where people can get in touch with you?
Of course. So I do have my Instagram account, which is my eye, my way official. I also have a TikTok account called my eye, my way. I have a blog, which is myeyemyway.com. And on LinkedIn, my name is Nanjiba Misbah.
MashaAllah, beautiful. So all of these ways we can get in touch with you, we can follow what you're up to, MashaAllah.
Come along on the journey.
Yes, totally. Thank you
Yeah,
so much again
welcome.
for giving me this time today. And may Allah bless you with good health and, with the support of your loved ones. And may Allah grant you success in achieving these beautiful missions that you have,
Thank you.
not just only for yourself, but, for the greater community.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me today.
So thank you so much again, Nanjiba. It was a pleasure to get to know you better, Alhamdulillah. And I hope you who are listening enjoyed this episode. This is something really refreshing and original. And I really enjoyed the conversation. For me, it's really inspiring to hear from Nanjiba, from her resilience and courage to do everything that she's doing, subhanallah. We can't be sitting doing nothing when people like Nanjiba are against all odds are achieving so much, mashallah.
Thank
So
you.
if you enjoy this episode, please do like and share. Tag us on Instagram when it's out. And if you would like to see someone as a guest on the podcast, also reach out to me anytime. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Najiba, thanks again. Jazakallah khairan. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.